Hello Stampers, this is Kelly Acheson at astampabove.com coming to you from Menasha, Wisconsin. Today I have a pretty cool technique to show you on a very nice autumn card that I made. We did this with my Technique Tuesday group and it's really a lot of fun and very easy. So we're using the Sheltering Tree stamp set and the Watercolor Words stamp set, two of my very favorite. I really like big words and this one fits the bill. So I've got on the front here, just for you, on the inside, you're the best. So I'm going to show you how to do this neat multicolored stamping here. Let's get started. We're going to start out with 5 pieces of cardstock here. I've got an early espresso card base that is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. A Whisper white layer that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and a layer to go under it that is just 1/8 of an inch bigger, so that's 2 7/8 by 2 7/8, and then 2 Whisper white layers that are 4 by 5 1/4. Okay, so we're going to get started with the 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch Whisper white layer. And we're going to stamp the actual tree image from the Sheltering Tree stamp set with early espresso ink. I'm going to kind of offset my tree over to the left side of my paper here. And you can see placement of it. My tree is going off the bottom a little bit and on the side and top just a tiny bit. So there's our wonderful tree. That's the base for what we're going to do next. Then I'm going to bring in my 4 by 5 1/4 inch layer, and I want to stamp my words next because I want to make sure that there's room for them before we get to the good part of the card, right? So I've got Just For You, and I'm going to stamp that down here as close to the bottom as I can with the early espresso ink. And then I've got a couple little elements going on the bottom of my card. I'm using Pear Pizzazz ink with the swoosh that comes in this stamp set. And I'm just going to kind of make a little hill over here in the corner. Then I'm going to bring in the Delightful Dijon, and I'm going to put a few little, what I'm going to consider floating leaves over here. We're going to come back in with early espresso and the tiny little adorable rake, and I'm going to kind of lean that up against the side of my card. And if you like, you can take the little grass images with the Pear Pizzazz and add a few of those. That kind of just adds a little bit more interest. Okay, now we've got our tree stamped. We're going to set that centered right here in the middle of our card. We're going to now ink up the big leaf stamp image with the Delightful Dijon ink. And before we stamp that, we're going to take a couple markers. Now this technique is called marker thumping, and if we had a more solid image on these leaves, they're kind of textured a lot. If the image was more solid, we would just take our marker and we would just bounce that all over the image. But because these have a lot more texture in them, I'm actually going to just color in a few spots here, and I'm just randomly going around my tree and adding some Old Olive right on top of the Delightful Dijon. So I'm going to do that with Old Olive and also with Cajun Craze. Those are a couple, you know, of our favorite colors that we use for our fall cards. And I'm just coloring on them a little bit. Now I'm going to huff on my stamp to moisten it again. And we're going to keep this layer. Remember, we have our tree layer here. We're going to lay that right down on our card centered, and we are going to stamp over to the left. And the reason why I did it over to the left is because I want some of my leaves to go on the background of my card. This is my card front, so it looks kind of weird right now, but wait till you see how cool this is. We're going to take a little of our liquid glue and add our Whisper White layer to the early espresso layer, and it's just got that real thin margin. Then we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. Did you know that if you stick your thumb in the middle of these dimensionals, it kind of pushes one side up so you can grab them a little easier? I remember one year we were at convention in Salt Lake City, and someone was doing a demonstration on stage, and they told us this. It was like the biggest aha moment ever. I'm not kidding. The whole crowd just gasped. So there's your little tip for the day. Now we're going to take this piece, and again, we're just going to center it up here on our card. And isn't that just a really unique look? I love it. I love the colors on the tree leaves. Let's bring in our early espresso layer here. We'll give that a nice edge. I'm going to add this to the front. Don't go anyplace. I have a couple more tips for you for the inside. I'm going to add this right here. And then for our inside layer, I need thank you cards. I am just desperately in need of thank you cards. But you could certainly put anything you wanted on the inside of this card. I'm going to put "You're the Best." And again, this comes from the Watercolor Words stamp set. And you guys know that I like to decorate up the insides of my cards. So I'm going to put some grass down here. Now watch, I'm going to take my swoosh and I'm going to stamp it like that. I'm going to ink it up again, and I'm going to turn it over, and it fits right back in there. So you could just keep doing that all the way up your layer. Did you like that? Kind of like a little wave. Here's the inside of our card. Throw that right in here. And was that not simple? Very, very simple. Now, here's another little tip for you. Oh, you know what? Let's put some grass in here, some little grass sprigs. I forgot to do that. Just throw some little grass in here. There we go. It just, you know, it's just cool. These are really quick and easy cards. You can whip a bunch of these up in no time at all. And here's another one that I made, and this one I used the happy birthday from the Watercolor Words. So we've got "You're the Best" or "Happy Birthday." Both of them are on the same on the front. The last thing I'm going to do is bring in my envelope, because again, if you follow me, you know if you follow me, you know that I like my envelopes decorated. So I am going to do my little swoosh of green here, and I'm just going to stamp it again so I've got the whole little corner green. Bring in a few Delightful Dijon leaves here. And then my cutie patootie little rake. I love this little rake. I think it's just adorable. I'm just going to lean that up against the side. And now we have a smashing combination here, right? Cool. So this is called marker thumping. You can use it with any color combinations that you want, but you always want to do the lightest color on your stamp first. And if I was going to make some more of these, I would take and clean this stamp before I put it in my Delightful Dijon ink pad again. Because if there's any residue left from the green or the Cajun Craze, you don't want to get that in your ink pad, right? So don't forget to wash the stamp before you stamp it again. So thanks for stamping with me today. If you don't have the current Stampin' Up! Catalogs, I'd be happy to send them to you. You can pop me an email at kelly@astampabove.com. You can also hop on over to my blog, where I will have all the ingredients and the dimensions for this card in one place if you would like to reproduce it. My blog address is astampabove.com. Don't forget to subscribe to my blog. In the right-hand column, you'll find a place where you can subscribe. And once you do that, every time I add something new to it, which is pretty much daily, you'll get an email right in your email inbox where you can see what kind of fun project I've come up with for that day. Add a little sparkle to someone's day. Send them a card.